put this video together to help you set up your puppet for the bone tool exercise. So if you go to Shim Educate, right? When you go to Shim Educate and you go down to the Graphics 3 playlist, just going to hit pause there for a second, and you scroll down, you will see Bone Tool Part 2, number 14. Now this shows you how to take a monster that you've made and animate it using something called the Bone Tool. So this is kind of like Part 2. Don't really worry about Part 1. I'm sort of redoing it now. Okay, so what we're really going to do is we are going to go online and find different pieces of different monsters or action figures or people. Okay, head, legs, body, arms, hands, all kinds of weird, wacky stuff. You can even put yourself in it if you want to. And we're going to piece these pieces. I don't know what that is. Don't worry about that. We're going to piece these pieces together inside of Photoshop, similar to kind of what you see there. And then we're going to make it dance. All right. So to do this, you're going to go to Photoshop first, then go to File and New. Once you go to File and New, you're going to go to a letter size page, which is 8.5 by 11, 300 resolution, RGB and white color mode. Click Create, so you're going to get this new page. Now, inside your folder, you should start to gather different images that you think that you could use for your project. Ones that are facing forward, similar to this kind of thing, where the action figures are facing forward, that would be fine. But I could have found anything, all right? So for example here, I will take these images one at a time after they're in your folder, drag and drop right on into Photoshop onto that new page that we just created. Once it's here, hit the checkbox. Go over to the layer, right click on it, rasterize it. Then we're going to cut things out. So I know there's been a lot of tools you haven't used in a while because you've been in other programs, but there's Lasso, Polygano, Magnetic. You should remember them from using Photoshop. Or you could try some quick select ones and try to do a selection of just the face first. You could always remember there's an add button and a subtract button up top, and you could take away the parts you don't want. Now once you have the thing selected that you want, in this case the head, right click and cut it onto its own layer. So you can see here it cut layer 1, which is just the face by itself. So I'm going to get rid of layer 3 here, drag it and drop it into the trash can. Okay, so I have the head on layer 1. I'm going to double click where it says layer 1 right here, and I'm going to call it head. Then do edit, free transform, hold shift and option at the same time, make it smaller, bring it to the top of the page. Then continue to go from there and finding other pieces that you want to use to kind of put this thing together. So imagine that I find let's say this one, and I'm going to now drag this one in. Now when I drag it in, I hit the checkbox to OK it. The quality of this is not great, alright? So I'm going to try to use something else real quick. And you kind of want like the facing forward sort of shot. This one is somewhat face forward. Alright, what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to drag it in, hit OK, right click, rasterize it, right? And then from there, I'm going to cut out the part I want to keep. Now in this case, I'm only going to keep the torso and jacket. So I'm going to take one of my selection tools like Polygonal Lasso. I'm going to zoom into it, Command plus, Command minus, right, zoom in. You can see how low the quality is here, but it'll be fine for what we're doing. I'm going to click, and I'm just going to select out only the part that I want to keep. So I'm going to go all the way down and around this piece. I'll get the tie in here. Could even probably separate the tie later. Now once I make the selection around this particular piece, I'm going to do a layer via cut and cut it out onto its own layer. That wasn't the best cut right there, so I messed that part up, okay? You'll get the basic idea. Okay, almost done. Close it up. Right click, layer via cut. It just cut it out onto layer 1. And now that layer 1, I'm going to double click and call it body. And I'm going to get rid of this layer that's underneath it by throwing it in the trash can. Okay, so far I have 2 pieces. I could always take the move tool. I could move any of the pieces, right? Wherever I want. I could do Command T. I could rotate. I can move in any direction that I want. I can make it bigger or smaller. What I want you to do is leave a little space between the 2 for now. We're going to put them together later, but leave space between all the different parts. And then in order to really make this move, what we're going to try to do is take more, let's say, more other parts, I guess. Let's see if we have some things here. No. All right, so let's say I take the arms from I'll take the arm from Iron Man here. So drag Iron Man in. Once it's in, hit OK. Now what I want from this one is just the arm. So I'm going to take one of my selection tools. First, I'm just going to kind of grab just the arm itself. Right click, layer view. Forgot to rasterize it. Right click, rasterize. Right click, layer view, cut. So now that arm is by itself. Okay. And we're going to take that arm and we're going to position it on the body somewhere. So it's supposed to look kind of like a Frankenstein monster made up of different parts, and that's okay. Then what we want to do with this arm, though, is we want to break it apart. And there's a shoulder, there's the middle section of the arm with the bicep tricep area, then there's the forearm, and then there's the hand. So in order to break this up, you're going to take a tool like lasso, you're going to make a selection around just one part, like the shoulder first, right click, layer via cut. And now that is on its own layer. See that? And you're going to name it. You're going to name every layer so that you know what's on each one. It'll be much easier for you later. Then go back to one, which right now has the bicep and forearm and hand. Make a selection of just that area. Right click, layer via cut. And now that one is, we'll call it, bi/tricep. All right, go back to layer 1. Layer 1 now just has the hand and those pieces. If you hide the white on the bottom, you'll see that some of these pieces still have white on them. And if that happens, just take the magic wand tool, go on those layers, click delete, go to this layer, hit delete, go to this layer, hit delete. Got to find where all the white is. There it is. All right, and you can get rid of things that way if you have extra white that you're seeing that's not where you want it to be. Okay, so I got 3 pieces now. Look, one, which I gotta call the hand, and now this is the left hand, and really this is the left bicep tricep, and this is the left shoulder. All right, so you got those 3 pieces going. Then you're gonna do the same thing for the legs, the same thing for the other arm. All right, when you're done, all of your layers should be set up and named, and all of those pieces, like I was telling you before with the move tool, just separate them a little bit so there's some space between each thing. All right, it'll be helpful for you later. In this case, really, I should have the hand being separate if I want the hand to move separately. I'll do that with the other one so that you could see. So I'm going to find maybe this guy, move this guy in. Hit OK, right click, rasterize. I'm going to use the selection tool and select the arm out of this one. Right click, layer via cut. Get rid of the rest of it. Just keep this piece. Do Command T to this piece to make it larger. Right. Then use the magic wand tool, select and get rid of that outside edge. Use one of my other selection tools, make selection around the shoulder first. Right click, layer via cut. Call that, this one's going to be the right shoulder. Go back to layer 1. Make a selection. Right click, layer via cut. Call this right. Bi/tri. back to layer 1. And now this one, what I could do is I could do the forearm and keep the hands separate, right? So this is the hand part, forearm, good. Right click, layer via cut. So this one will be the right forearm. And then this one becomes the right hand because it's all by itself. All right, and we're going to continue like that. And like I said, give it some space. A little bit of a gap between each thing. Okay, and you're going to do that for the rest of the body, the legs, the feet, everything's set up the same way. If you continue to do that, and then you can go to that second video that we talked about, which was here, the bone tool part 2, right, this one, and it'll show you how to take those pieces, bring them into animate, give them a bone structure underneath, and then how to actually move it and put a background on it, and the whole thing will begin to animate. All right. Continue to do that. You might need a neck piece. You need a little bit of like a torso or belly, lower belly area where the legs hit, and then the upper leg, the knee, the lower leg, and the foot on both sides. And make sure you name everything and save everything before you try to import it into Adobe Animate.